Hi everyone, it's Lindsay. Welcome to another video. Today we're going to be making a scene with some new stamps from Crackerbox and Suzy Stamps. To celebrate the new release, we are having a blog hop with the $25 gift certificate as the prize, so be sure to head over to my blog for all those details. Also, the new release is 25% off, so be sure to head over to the shop and do some shopping. Links will be in the description of this video. So here's a look at the stamps I'm using today, except for that one on the left. I will use that in an upcoming video, but not today. I thought I was, but I didn't. So it is part of the new release though, so it is on sale. The first thing I want to do is use a circle die to die cut some masking paper. I use label paper. It's a little bit stickier than your normal masking paper, and I buy it in bulk from Amazon, so it's a lot cheaper as well. Now, because of that, it is a little bit more stickier. You do need to de-stick it a little bit. So stick it against your shirt a few times, stick it against your pant leg or on a cloth to get some of that lint on it, and then put it onto your paper. Now, I forgot to do that here, so I didn't end up ripping my paper a little bit, but learn from my mistake, de-stick it, and then put it down, and it works great. So once I had that down onto my cardstock, which measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, I'm going to do some ink blending. I'm using my Amazon makeup brushes, which are fantastic. I'm using a smaller size that really comes in handy here, and some Catherine Pooler inks. I'm using Rockin' Red, Orange Crush, and limoncello. And these blend really nicely, so it doesn't take a whole lot of work. Now, before I move that outer mask, I'm going to go ahead and take that circle that I die cut from the center of it and place that down over what I've already ink blended. I want to keep that nice and bright. That's going to be my moon, kind of like a blood moon looking moon. So that mask will protect it. And then I can go ahead and remove that outer mask and do some ink blending around it. Now I want to do some clouds. You could just do like a straight galaxy background or straight gray with a little bit of black, but I want to add some clouds to this. So I actually took a die and die cut it from some stencil material myself and made my own homemade stencil. Now, if you don't have that stencil material, it's really easy to make your own stencil just with some computer paper, and you can recut it every time. But the cloud is something I use so often, I actually invested in the material and went ahead and made my own. Now for this, I'm using a jumbo ink dauber from Imagine Crafts, and I'm using some distress inks here. I believe I'm using Hickory Smoke and Black Soot. And I'm moving that cloud stencil from side to side. I flip it over every now and again to make each one of these clouds look a little bit different. Then it's time to go ahead and remove that mask, and now I have this really fun nighttime scene with that bright moon in the sky as well. Here is a closer look at the background, all ready to go, and now it's time to do a little bit of die cutting. So I want to create some hills at the bottom of my card. Most of the time I die cut them from green, but because this is a night scene, I'm going to go ahead and cut them from some black cardstock. If you don't have a hill die, you can also just use a circle die and cut them with that, and that creates a very nice hill-like appearance too. Now it's time to do some stamping, and I am using that Flying Monkey stamp set that is brand new from Crackerbox and Suzy Stamps. Crackerbox and Suzy Stamps are red rubber stamps that are cling mounted. And whenever you use your stamp positioner to stamp with these, you need to make sure that you remove that foam insert on the inside. That's how that works with the Misty and the Mini Misty as well. I inserted my panel into the Misty, then I lined up my stamp, picked it up with the lid of my Misty, and I'll stamp it down a few times with my VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink. Now I want to make sure this is nice and dark and black, so I am stamping over this about 3 times. I cut one out just because it's the same thing, but there's a closer look at that monkey. You can see it in the silhouette of the moon. I absolutely love the look of this background. Now that didn't completely cover the moon in the background. If you wanted to do that, just use some black embossing powder and heat emboss that. I didn't want to take that extra step. I'm okay with a little bit peeking through. Now for my sentiment, I am using the new Flying High sentiment, and I am stamping that on one of the hills that I die cut. I prep my surface with my embossing bag. That is just going to make sure that any extra little stray powders don't stick to my cardstock, and they're only going to stick to my sentiment. I stamped the sentiment with Versamark ink, which is a clear sticky ink, so I could put on some silver embossing powder. This is from Imagine Crafts as well. A little bit different and comes in a bag, but look at that beautiful sentiment. I absolutely love, love, love the way this looks on black cardstock. Now it's time to put everything together. So I've got my panel and I'm going to put down the first hill. Now you could see it was a little bit big. I just go ahead and glue it down with my liquid adhesive, give it a few seconds to dry, and then just chop off the extra with my scissors. Now I'm going to add that second hill right in front of the first with some foam adhesive so it has a little dimension. Trim it down to fit the card. And then finally, I'll go ahead and add that card panel right to a card base, which is 4¼ by 5½ inches and top folding. And there is a final look at the card. This was a fun one to make. I love the sentiment on this, and that new Flying Monkey stamp set is so much fun. Now, like I said, there is another Flying Monkey sentiment to go along with this. I'll use that on my next set of cards for Crackerbox and Suzy stamps. That does it for me today. Happy crafting, everyone.